Go.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to A New View. I'm Shira, and I'm here with Kim, Lee, and Juji. We are four friends, speakers, and professionals from different cultures, backgrounds, and age groups coming together to offer healing and inspiration. For some women, deciding not to have children is something they've just known deep down for as long as they can remember. For others, it may have been a decision that's come with time, perhaps after years of contemplation. And then there are those who wait for a clear answer that just never comes. Today, we're going to ask Kim and Juji what it's really like to make the decision to be child free. So, here's a question for you. Have you ever changed your mind about not wanting to have children and then maybe changed it back? Expound more on that, if you will.
Actually, I'd love to take this one, Kim, because I feel like of the two of us, it seems that I am the most gung-ho about never wanting children, being clear that that was always the case. But I do remember a time that was not a long period of time, but it did happen when I was first married. And I was like, maybe I could do this. Maybe I made like all this fuss about not wanting to have kids, like especially in my teens and 20s. Maybe that was all just a show, and like maybe I can, like let that go in terms of an identity and actually contemplate having a child. And then, life happens, and a lot of factors in both my relationship and with my business contributed to it never being the right time for us to have children. And then when I was starting my self-development journey, and it was really brought to my attention how much family is actually really important to me, I had like another blip of being like, maybe I just want to have kids, but that's not a solution to anything. And that's what I really realized, is that if I were to go through with it and like try and save my marriage through having a baby, that doesn't work. Unless I felt like, unless I was truly committing myself to what it takes to be a parent, I wasn't really authentically wanting that for myself. And so, yes, I've had the blip, but it never really stuck.
Interesting. Interesting. All right, I have a question for you guys. It's kind of like a two-parter, but what is it that you say to people? Because I'm sure you're approached and asked often about, do you have kids, or when are you going to have kids? Like in your case, Kim, since you're married, what do you say to people when they ask you? And the second part of my question would be, what do you really feel like saying?
Well, I think over time I've learned to say it with confidence, own it. And I just say it as is, blunt. And I say it with no judgment. Oh, we're not having children. Oh no, we don't have kids. And you can see, I see a lot, the questioning. They're trying to compute something. They want to ask why, right? Most of the time they don't. But I think over time I've learned to say it just, this is a decision that I own and that I've made, and it's for nobody's business to judge. So whatever I get, sometimes I get tons of support, sometimes I get judgment, whatever it is, I've just learned over time to say it with confidence, and like, it's not a bad thing, it's not a good thing, it just is. And that's it, just like matter of fact. That's how I say it. And your second question, what would honestly,
I think you might have answered it. I think you kind of said it's none of their bleeping business. Well, but you didn't say the bleeping.
But I don't even have any, even if I see them questioning, like, oh, like they want to, you could just tell like they want to ask why, or maybe they're thinking why, or whatever they're thinking. There's really nothing else I want to say, because there's nothing to say. I don't have any negative emotion in me that's like, wanting to say, don't freaking ask me that. That's none of your business. Like, I really don't. The times when there is something more I'd like to say, but I don't, is when I get, well, what do you mean? What do you mean you're not having kids? Like the judging question of what, like they just can't compute it. That's when I kind of want to be like, why do you care? Like, that's what I want to say. Why do you care?
Right. You certainly don't owe them an explanation. That's for sure.
So this is probably a little bit of an igniting, potentially like, thought-provoking question. And you may get this question too. But my curiosity is, do you feel like if you were to, and this is not being present, but if you were to project yourself into the future, do you think there would be a chance of any regret of that decision?
I mean, I think that is actually the point that most people have tried to make to me.
Yeah.
Including my mom. Love you so much. I know you don't care anymore. Love you, Mom. But that was the point that was always brought to me, is if you get to later on in life and it's too late and you regret the decision that you made when you were younger, what is that going to be like for you? And somebody said something incredible to me a few years ago that really sat with me, because she asked me if I had kids. I had expressed that I was getting divorced, and she said, do you have kids? And I said, no, and I don't plan to. And she said, that's okay. You don't have to give birth to be a mother. And that just really, really hit me, because I feel very called in a lot of different areas of life to help women with their children, through human design and other things, this being one of them. And so there is a mothering, nurturing element in me. I feel that if I were to be in partnership with someone who had a child, that would be something that I would be willing to, not just willing to, but like happily take on. And so there are a lot of ways to be a mom without giving birth. And that permission given in that moment was just like so reaffirming for me. Like, no, I don't have to regret not physically giving birth to a child.
I love that.
I like it.
I would love to answer that question too. I think because I've never had this maternal instinct, and if it's there, I don't feel it. So I'm under that category in the intro where you said some people, they just don't know and the answer just doesn't seem to come. I'm one of those. It's not like I've been like, oh, I don't want children, and like I've always felt that in my bones. So as far as the regret factor, if I got pregnant, and I think I would be an amazing mom, I would embrace it. My husband would embrace it. I know it would be a beautiful bonding experience like nothing I can ever imagine. Because that maternal instinct isn't there, and I am, like Juji just said, a mother to so many, I mean, not that I gave birth to them, but I'm very nurturing and take care of my nieces and nephews and my pets and my husband and my family and friends in so many different ways, shapes, and forms. That's very fulfilling for me. And I've always felt that if I got to an age, maybe in 10 years or something, in my 50s or whenever, I always felt very strongly like if I really changed my mind, I could choose to adopt. That is an option for me if I want. And there's also so many options to take care of children and be able to feel fulfilled in that way. There are so many young kids who need help and homes and nurturing and cared for. I mean, even all of the like boys and girls groups out there, there's so many after school programs where kids, maybe just need help or support in some way. Almost like that group, Big Brothers, Big Sisters. That's a wonderful group. I could always get involved in something like that. So my point is just that I don't feel I'll regret it because there's so many options to, I know it's not the same thing, but it's enough for me.
I just have to say one thing on the heels of both of your answers and the fact that we just did a show about women and conditioning. It is so heartwarming and refreshing to have this conversation and say, we can break the mold, or just because people have this already always thinking of women, mothers, like, right? Like, no. And I just love both of your answers so much.
Thank you.
Excellent. Okay. My next question, I believe, Juji, you've already answered it, but feel free to answer it again if you have any other, anything else you want to say about it. But at what point in your life did you really know, like, this is not the way I want to go?
That is such a good question.
I think, Juji, you said in your childhood, when you were a teen, when you kind of knew, or?
Okay, I'm not saying that little girls who play like baby doll will like all automatically end up being like moms and like want to be moms, but like I just don't have any memory of that. I don't have a memory of taking care of dolls, pretending they were my baby. I do remember one doll that like, I think it was the 90s. It like peed in a diaper, like the doll could pee in a diaper. And I was like, what is this? And I put it aside. And for me, it was all about like the Barbie and the outfits and the, like, this is her work outfit, this is her whatever. And so like, I just have this memory of, what was important to me as a child was independence. Nothing could get in the way of my independence. And I'm not saying that being a mom like zaps that from you. It's like fulfilling on a whole other level that I respect so much. That's another thing I really want to point out, is that just because I choose not to want to have kids, I don't judge women for wanting them. That might be like a perception that people have of women who choose not to have kids, is that like, I'm pointing at all of you being like breeders, like suckers, you got like, no, I'm so happy that you're like continuing the human race, for crying out loud, but there was nothing innate in me. Like Kim said, there's not this mothering instinct of like, yeah, I want to dedicate the next 18 years of my life to life outside of myself. I have goals, I have dreams, I have aspirations. I want to travel. I want to do so many things that I don't think would be fair to a child. I don't think that me putting myself first in this case, the way that I want to, is fair to a child. So I sort of knew early on that that wasn't something I resonated with at all.
Fair enough. And Kim, when was was there a pivotal moment that you kind of knew?
No. There still isn't. I'd say the first time, I just never thought about it. And I got married in my late 30s, and I still just never thought about it. My husband made it very clear to me when we first met that he didn't want kids. And I literally was like, okay. And it just didn't seem like this important thing to me. But what did happen was, I think I was 44 and I got my blood work done. No, I'm sorry. It was just recently. I'm 45 now, but I got my blood work done like right before I moved about 6 months ago. And the doctor told me that I'm in menopause, which I kind of knew was happening, obviously. But when he told me that, it definitely shook me up a bit, made me, I've always been at an I don't know place. I just don't think about it. Now, all of a sudden, I was still at an I don't know place. But when I heard that news, I was like, now I'm thinking about it. Now, for the first time in my life at 45, I'm like, do I? Because now I won't be able to soon. So do I want kids? And it just really, for like a few months when I first moved, actually, I was thinking about it, and I kept talking to Mike about it. he totally was like, please don't change your mind. Please don't change your mind. Please don't change your mind. And I was like, well, but would you be open to adopting if I change my mind? Because like right now, I don't, I don't know. Everything was just such a strong, I don't know. So, but I think that's what sort of maybe happens sometimes if you do make that decision not to have them, and then you can't. All of a sudden, this the ability is taken away from you. But I just sat with it for a few months, and sitting with it and thinking about it and talking about it made me realize that I really will be content with a doggy. And it's okay. It's interesting too. I just want to end with this. I don't, like Juji just said, I don't judge anybody I celebrate life. I love my nieces and nephews. I love people's children. I'm actually a very, very like maternal person. Like I'm very much into taking care of people in any way, shape, or form. So it's one of those things where, I just, I think we should all offer each other support in like any way. I think we should all, I'm sorry, my mom walked in the room, so I just shooed her away. Excuse that moment. It distracted me and I lost my thought completely. But anyway, so I just think that no matter what your decision is, it should be respected, and we should all offer each other support in what way we can. Friends of mine who have kids, family who have kids, I support them. They support my decision. They might question it. They might ask me out of love, are you sure? Are you sure? And I just say yes. And, thank you for showing me love, but you don't need to ask me that anymore, and then other things coming from the outside, when I read things and, when I read things like you're sinning or whatever, like just all these judgmental things, I just don't take them onto my shoulders. I don't allow those things to seep into my mind. I know in my heart that me and my husband are making the right decision for us, and I just don't allow it in. So, yeah.
Well, this has been really quite a beautiful conversation in ways that I did not expect. So I think this is a great place to wrap. We hope you enjoyed our conversation as much as we did. If you like our videos, please subscribe to our channel and be sure to let us know if you have any topic requests or questions by commenting below. We'll see you soon. Thank you so much for watching, and stay safe.